Everybody, good morning and welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Ann, Disembodied Hands, Squinty, Disembodied Beard John, and everyone in chat. Hi. Oh, I'm going to close David's door because he's home and the TV's on. One sec. I'm closing your door. Come on, Bubba. You don't want to get shut in there. Yeah, come on. Good girl. You don't want to get shut in there. It's warm. Yeah. You don't want to get shut in Daddy's room. There we go. All right. Sorry about that, folks. I just realized he was home today, and thus he is watching a TV show, and I don't want to hear it all during my stream, and he doesn't want to hear me, so there we go. Yeah. It's been warm. It was warm here yesterday, 92. Hey, Jabberwock. Wow. Like, long time no see. Yeah, we missed you, too. Sweet. Sweet, sweet. Boing. It's only 50. Yeah, if we swap, then we'll get something in between, right? We'll get like a nice 67 or something. Yeah. Luckily, the temperatures are supposed to go down while we're away, so the dog sitter won't be completely destroyed. So that's the problem of having him watch the Keeks during summertime. Is that it can get kind of brutal in this house. Alrighty. Yes, we're using gnome flesh and troll flesh. Troll hide. Troll whatever. Trolling. We're trolling. But we're not trolling. We're orking. We're half-orking. And then we're doing skin tones. So we're bringing up our skin tones with regular skin, which I like to do for half-orcs. So that you get kind of a blend. I always assume, Pendraig, like, our houses here are old and a lot of people don't want to do modifications to them because they're historic somewhat. And so, like, that's, you know, they just don't do the AC ad. But I don't assume that that's true of everybody in this area. There's enough hot days that if I lived here and bought a house and it didn't have AC, I would put it in. We've considered it for this house. It really depends. These houses were all done by a kind of famous architect that even my brother had heard of as an architecture student, who was kind of famous for doing like affordable family homes back in the 50s and 60s. And they're really nice houses. They have, you know, lots of windows. You like have kind of the feeling that like our one wall is all glass. So it's mid-century modern is the type of house. But because of that, we don't want to really slaughter it. And putting in like ducting, we'd have to run it all over the roof. Yeah. Plus it would be expensive. So it really depends on how hot it ends up getting here. But I always assume that other people around here, he grew up in Palo Alto, I think it's where his folks are. And I just kind of assume that most sane people in normal houses will actually have climate control. Maybe that's an assumption, but we're going to move the AC into his bedroom before we leave this weekend anyway. For this weekend, rather. All right, so I'm going to mix up my troll hide, but I'm right away going to put a little bit of the gnome flesh in it. Only 78. Nice, Twisted Oma. Yeah, you guys had some rain go through yesterday, I saw. Or Texas did. North Texas did. Denton did. Make sure this is well shaken up. Yeah, I don't think I could live in the UK because it's like so cold. Like, I like rain, but I like there to be an end of rain eventually. So we're going to just mix this up with one drop. No, I don't really like window units. Like, I'm not a fan. Like, then you've just got ugly, like, window units hanging out all over. Plus, like the only way to put one in the main room, because it's all glass on one side of the house, and there's just like one. There's really only one window, and the big room is partitioned by half a wall. So there's really no good way to put AC in the main room. Period. We have a small AC, the floor standing one that rolls around. That works great for our bedroom during the summers, but I'm afraid that window AC units, besides my opinion of them being like ugly as sin, and loud, that's just not going to work in our main house. But I mean, I like heat, so for me, I don't care. I just switch to shorts and a tank top, and I'm fine. Like, we just close up the house because it has that great foam insulation, and it stays below 80 in the house all day. Even yesterday when it got up to 92, it was still 78 in the house. So, until the very, very end of the day. So, it's still pretty good. All right, I'm going to start mixing up a new thing. This time I'm going to do 4 drops of this. I'm going to reverse my formula and do 4 drops of the gnome flesh, 1 drop of the troll hide. Oh, yeah. Right, exactly, Laura's. That's right. That's the problem with window units. Yeah, replace all the windows with ones that open. No joke. Why put a window in a house if you're not going to have it openable? That's so weird. Because even if you live in a very hot climate, you want the windows open overnight usually. But yeah, whatever. It works. We left our patio door open with a fan in it most of the night last night. It cooled the house down great. All right, so we'll mix this up. So those are kind of the two colors. Like I'm looking to bring the skin up mostly to this tone, and then introduce some more rosiness to it. So by popping this over here, and then grabbing a little bit of my magenta. I really only need a tiny bit because magenta is very high diffusion. And now you guys who have watched my video, who are on my Patreon as free members or paid members, those of you who watch my video on paint mixing know what diffusion is. So I've got a bit of a rosier tone going here. I think I'm going to actually make it more rosy because I can take it back down to this. Pretty easily by mixing it with my previous tone. So essentially by adding the magenta, we mute out all the green until we've got a good range here. So I'm going to add a little bit more water to that one. I think this one. So we take off tomorrow. We will not be streaming on this show for the next 2 days. Hi, Kiki. Do you want to come up and see the stream? Or are you just here for the pets? Yeah, do you want to come up and see the stream? You want to come up? Do you want to come up, Baba? No? Okay. Okay. That's all right. You don't have to. She's probably just sulking because I shut her off from David's room. It's okay, Baba. You're just going to have to deal. Yeah, I just know I checked my Denton weather and it was raining. And it said it will rain for the next hour. So I know that some Denton got rain. All right, let's first deal with this kind of a beigey color. Beigey color. This will be. You know what? I want to switch to my very, very old, my really worn down one. Yeah, I was gonna say it's very late. The year that I moved to Texas, I moved, just after April Fool's Day, or on April, just before April Fool's Day, I should say, because my first job was, my first day of work was April Fool's. And I remember it just thunderstormed every night, like predictably, as the night darkened, the thunderstorm would roll in. And it was like every night for like 5 days. It was crazy. I loved it because I love thunderstorms. So I'm just going to put down this beige color kind of to mitigate a bit of the green. I still want to have some of the green because she still is a half-orc, but I don't want a lot of it. So let's get in focus and get in close here. Ah! Stay. Oh, that's funny, Korniko. I don't know how I would exist. I would have to have really good blackout curtains if I lived in a place where it never got dark at night, any part of the year. Of course, I have really good blackout curtains now, and I live in a place where it does get dark. But we're close enough to urban centers that, we have enough streetlights and things around us that I want to block everything out. I am one of those must have complete darkness to sleep people. So really just kind of taking this over the highlight areas of the face. To tone down the skin a little bit. And then I'm going to have to lighten it up for my next bit of highlight. Yeah, that's weird, Pendrick. I can sleep with light if I have to, but it definitely affects the quality of my sleep. But like sleep is my most valuable thing in the world, so except maybe exercise is like has a slight edge on sleep. But like otherwise sleep is like up there. So I prioritize getting a good night's sleep. It's one of the pillars of living a long and healthy life. And I am there. I am there for that. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Laura, that's like with me too. I'm a light sleeper as it is, so to get myself to have adequate deep sleep is a challenge sometimes. She's ripped. She's ripped, ladies and gentlemen. Gotta remember the ears. I always forget the freaking ears. Oh my god. Yuck, Kodiak. Not good for your health. Companies that do that make me grind my teeth. Like, companies that do that really don't care about their employees, in my opinion. Hate to say it. But I guess that's like a lot of companies these days. To be my bitter self. That's why I love Reaper. Reaper cares about its peeps. All right, so we've got that. Actually, I've got to get the neck down here. I didn't quite get that. And then we're going to build a highlight for this color. And this is where the rule of thumb that like we used to talk about in the Illinois Mini Painting Society comes in, which is highlight till you think it looks good. Most people would be like, that looks great. And then put 2 more highlights on it. So we will begin to put the 2 more highlights on it once I'm done with the little hands here. LED dimming plastic sheets for the litter robot. Yeah, yeah. Wow, yeah, for sure, Quindy. That's crazy. Night mask, yeah, David thinking about that. But I'm obsessive about blocking out light, so he doesn't really have to. When we have the AC on, I take my socks for the next day, which I've already laid out, and I put them over the light panel so that they can't see the light. Hee hee. Tape over all the LED lights in the bedroom. Yep, yep. That's funny. That's funny. The beacon of Gondor. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't envy anybody in healthcare either, considering, and it's ironic that healthcare is the one that does that to people, because anybody who's read any research on sleep knows of the horrible implications it has for your health to do that. I don't know. Good for your wallet, maybe, Kodiak, but don't ever read any books about sleep, because when you find out how you could be compromising your health, you're just never going to want to do that again. Maybe that's just me. I'm very motivated by fear of dying. So for me, it's like, if I read that something is bad for my health, I'm like, okay, we're kicking that out. I'm probably over the top on that. Hey there, Miniatures Den. Thanks for the, yeah, see, we go from Luca to, like, discussing health. Yeah, there we go. That's the difference between these streams. Well, okay, there are many other differences between these streams, let's be honest. But, hi, Luca, thank you for the raid. Oh. Yeah, it does concern me, Kodiak, because, you know, I like you, and, like, it really hurts. It really hurts. Like, your cancer risk. Stuff like that. Ah! Okay, I'm done freaking out. I'm done freaking out, but like, yeah. Seriously. Get sleep, people. Get good sleep. As much as you can. Whatever works for your body. Alright, so I'm putting some of the rosy tones in just to test them out. It would help if I need to adjust my camera a bit. Hold on. If I'm going to hold the mini here, that's fine. But the camera needs to be with me. Oh, mental health. Yeah, Luca, that's true. Luca does talk about mental health a lot. Right. And we do that a bit here. We talk about motivation and perfectionism and stuff that doesn't, like, work for you, works against you. We were just talking, Lucas Dream, Alpaca Folk. We were just talking about light in the bedroom at night and whether you can sleep or not with it. And I'm one of those hypersensitive people who, like, tries to make the bedroom absolutely black. All right, I'm going to mix a new highlight for our skin, guys, so we can start bringing up the skin tone instead of just lateraling it and getting a little less green. This is a Half-Orc, folks, so I am trying to give her a greenish skin tone, but the one that also has traces of human skin tone in it. So I was mixing my gnome flesh and the troll hide to get something more like an olive skin tone. Haha. And literally, because it's built from olive. And now I'm going to build a highlight for that so that we can go over what we've done already. Yeah, more like the hospitals just allow it to happen, right? Yeah, they don't have enough workers. Yep, it is a rough situation, absolutely. Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, healthcare has been in a sad state since COVID, for sure. They need help, for sure. I get it. We can have empathy for people. All right, so we're just going to use some pure white and pop this up. It just frustrates me when I mean, it's like, I know that we need more healthcare workers, and that's the problem, but it just still, I get so worried for people I don't know. But you can't fix everything. I have to tell myself that sometimes, because I'm just like, Anne, you can't fix it, so just take a deep breath and, you know, back off. All right, so when we mixed our white into our olive skin tone, we got something like that. I didn't feel the need to add some yellow like I often do with highlight colors because this is already a very yellow tan. So it's already going to look more golden, so I don't really need to do more. But yeah, prioritize sleep, folks. Prioritize sleep. Sleep is good. I think exercise, sleep, and good food. Good food and less of it. That sounds a little contradictive, doesn't it? Of course, it depends. Folks that are already too thin obviously don't have to listen to that. Alrighty, so we're using our really, really thin down brush. I could also just reach for the Rubloff on this if I want to get really tight detail. Any thinner, smaller brush will do. Yeah, Union would be good, Kodiak, for sure, to give you guys some more leverage, for sure. I thought there was a union of healthcare workers, but I guess that's probably by state, by hospital, maybe? I have no idea how that organizes with you guys in your industry. All right, we're just going to add lighter color, warmer color. Now, Luca has done this, I know, in setting up models where he talks about the 3 zones of the face, and we'll work on doing this on this model, actually. So the top zone is more yellow, the middle zone is more rosy, and the bottom tone is cooler. And so what we'll do here is and the reason for that is that, like, the forehead is the skull is very close to the there's pretty much just skin stretched over your skull, right? There's not a lot of muscle or anything between that. So what happens is you get that less pink because there's less blood flow in that skin layer, and more, because the skull is right there next to the outer surface of the skin, you get that yellow look, which is more light, more golden. And then as you go to the middle of the face, around the eyes, the nose, the cheeks, you get that flush, you get that pinkish look. And there isn't, again, down here you hit the chin bone and stuff and the shadows on the side of the face, so it tends to read as cooler. So some artists will actually start with a yellow, red, blue underpaint on faces when they're doing, like, busts and stuff. It's kind of, I think, a little bit of a waste on these tiny guys, but you could do it. You could do it and see. I am going to highlight the bridge of the nose. Yeah. That's a bumper, Kodiak. And I know a lot of people, you know, a lot of people I imagine go into healthcare because they care about people. And so I get it how it's, you can help, so you do help, you know. So just bringing up the front of the face there, because that's where the light is going to be. The face is kind of two shapes. It's like a round ball up here, and then it's more of a rectangular cube down here. So the light is generally falling on the front. Ah, okay. Congrats to him. Congrats to him that he's finished it, and he's gonna indie publish Inara like we did, like I did. By all means, if you're into fantasy adventure, help him out. Because, you know, early reviews and feedback mean a lot. There we go. All right. Like that a bit. So bringing up that, remember I told you guys, you bring up, you know, if it looks good, great, but bring up 2 more highlights and you'll be astonished how much better it looks. Well, we have 1 more highlight on the face and it already looks better. I'm going to make her hair dark. Either I'll make it blue or purple or black with highlights of a different color, maybe red highlights. I have to decide. I may do her clothing first and then decide. Oh, nice. He's going to release them. Or every 2 weeks, or is he releasing them like in a solid block in Aura? It can help if you do it every like 2 weeks, if you have everything ready. Because it tickles the algorithm a little bit more on Amazon. Rapid release tends to make them show your books a little bit more, at least at the beginning. So I don't know, he probably knows that, but great. Yeah. Good for him. Good for him. I'm going to put a little bit more pink in here. I'm just working it in. It's very subtle, but it's there. So now I'm going to go and hit some highlights on these muscles and hands. Again, as with all layering, we're really going to shrink our highlights as we go higher up on the muscle. So we got a little bit of light, extra light there. And my paint is thin enough to make it look good. It's not a flawless blend. Almost nothing we do on this stream is. If I want really flawless blending, I'm going to have to glaze. But it isn't really necessary. Who is it? Oh, Sam's. Sam's mini painting. Hey. Sorry, your light green name is very hard for me to read. Luckily, I always have the reading glasses, so. We are getting these skin tones going. So here I'm going to be highlighting just toward the top of the muscle. Now, the more like drama between layers, the more cut the character is going to look. But you definitely want it to be in line with the light sourcing. So I have to kind of watch this and make sure that I'm not kind of creating a weird light sourcing effect. Like, I definitely have to lighten up this demarcation line right here between the biceps and the triceps, like that. Because it's facing upward, it wouldn't be quite so dark. So I'm going to grab my kind of middle highlight that we started with here, and I'm going to glaze that over the top of that demarcation line between muscles. I honestly could actually. Let's just wait until the end and then correct everything. But yeah, so it's not bad at all to have a deep shadow like here underneath the shoulder muscle, because that if the light's falling from above, you would have a deep shadow there. Same with the underside of the arm, but here up on top, you wouldn't have a heavy line here. So you want to minimize that a little bit. Yeah, Twisted Doma is blue. I think it's different for everybody, but that light green is always so hard for me to read. Alright, so I'm going to go and highlight everything, and then we can do a glaze. And when we glaze, we could decide, that's the time where you really want to decide, I lost a lot of my green, I really would like her skin tone to go a little bit more orky. So then your glaze would be with your troll hide maybe, or your troll hide mixed with a little bit of skin tone. Whereas if you're like, no, I want to take her much more toward a human skin tone, then maybe I would glaze with my gnome flesh, and that would knock a lot of the green out of the skin tone even more so. Yeah, they're random generated. I mean, I think you can set yours if you want to, but it's optional. But yeah, compared to, I mean, I think that bright green is the hardest for me to read on the screen. Most of the time I don't have trouble with other colors. So we're just again gonna pick out the top parts of these muscles. Making our highlight smaller than our previous highlight. You can set it. You have yours set to purple. Yep. So you can set whatever color you want. And I'm happy that most people don't, because a lot of you would probably set to purple, and I'd have a harder time. I'd have to pay more attention to see who exactly was talking. When it's a different color from the person before, I think I notice it more. But yes, if you all want to be purple, you can all be purple. Yeah, you're always red, Shadow Raven, so I think you did. Just going to get these tendons around the neck. Now I do have there's a little bit of a dip here. I probably need to reapply some shadow in there. Because there's definitely a space here between the collarbone and the tendons, just a little dip. Hard enough to tell you apart. Yes, this is true. Green users, yes, green makes sense. Green makes absolute sense. So I brought in a little bit more of my olive there so that I could, back to your original orange. There you go. Now everybody runs off to set their colors. It's funny. Yeah, the orange is easy for me to see. I approve of the orange. There we go. A little bit more definition, not that it matters that much. Moth green is that color that I can't read. The really bright green, because they do have a really bright yellow green, but it's like very unreadable for me. Like I have to like do what I did with Sam's, because that was the color they were turning up on my screen. Alright, so a little bit more highlighting here on the hands, and then maybe we'll do one more highlighting glaze. Though often after you glaze, you're gonna knock out some of your highlights just a little bit. So often it makes a little more sense to glaze before your final highlight, because you're going to have to do that highlight. You're going to have to redo it if you, probably if you glaze before it. So I could just glaze now. Yeah, I like that skin tone. I'm going to bring up the pinks more too, but I think I'm going to glaze her with the gnome flesh. I'm going to try it. Yes. Yeah, and there's the white name right there. Seriously Cold Central Europe. Thanks, Seriously Cold Central Europe. I can't read your name because it's white on white. Alright, I need my gnome flesh. My magenta color here that I mixed is actually really close to gnome flesh, so I could possibly use this, but I think I want to use the skin tone that I was originally working with. I see. I guess I could highlight it. Yeah, now I can see it. If I mouse over it, then I can see who you are, Neuro. Yeah, I see you're seriously cold with humidity and hot central U.S. Yeah, right now U.S. is in a bit of a heat wave right now. All right, I'm going to use 1 drop of my gnome. And I'm gonna, when I build glazes, I always build them just with water. You could use a glazing medium. Oh, 55, yuck. That's too cold. We're getting, I would have to look up, our Fahrenheit is going to be 82 today, I think. It was 92 yesterday. Today should be okay. Yeah, it's still only 70 right now. And it's not supposed to be terribly hot when we're away, which is good for the dog sitter. He should be fine. He shouldn't melt. So I'm going to drop a lot of water into this. And this is still probably too strong, but we'll see. The way to tell is to kind of spread it out on the palette, see how much it colors. Actually, this isn't bad. This would be what I call a heavy glaze. This will impact the model for sure. So I think I'm going to try it and see how it works. I'm going to grab my Reaper brush, I think, to glaze with. Kodiak wants the cold weather. He's like, how are your housing prices? All right, we're going to glaze, and usually I glaze side to side or top to bottom. You can do it either way. You're going to apply it very quickly. If you put it on in a layer that you can see pooling, then you need to wick that excess off. I'm just using a very little of it and brushing it over the whole surface. So that's taken my green down a bit. I like that, actually. I'm going to keep doing it. And again, if I ever see pooling, then I'm going to stop and I'm going to wick it off. But as it is, if I only put a little bit of paint on my brush, I can just paint a very thin layer over the whole thing and not have to worry about that. So it's all in how much you've unloaded your brush. When you first glaze, the color is going to look more intense, and then it's going to back off a bit as it dries. And the other purpose of doing it is, of course, to smooth blends so that you can't see your transition marks as readily, and you may need to glaze a couple times depending on how heavy your transition marks are. All right, so now I need to re-highlight. I'm going to pop a little bit of white into my highlight color and I'm going to put about half a drop of white, which means I want at least 1 full drop of water. And then we can move on to clothing. What do you guys think for her main color? Red, blue, or purple? This would be a dark red, dark blue, or dark purple. Since I'm finishing up her skin tones. I have lots of red. Many red. I'm seeing many, many red. Overwhelming votes for red. All right, that's cool. I didn't want to make a formal poll. I was too lazy. Too lazy today. David stole all my covers last night. I woke up in the middle of the night. He's a tornado. He's one of those people who like rolls around at night. Yeah, it's going to be dark. Because she's a rogue, so we're going to, unlike with our mage rogue bunny who's super bright, because I want him to be more of an urban trickster type. This one, I want to go more sneaky rogue. Most of the time I fight back and steal the covers back. But he had, it was very warm at the start of the night, so neither of us had, most of us, neither, or both of us had kind of kicked the covers off, which makes it easier for him to steal them later in the night. So it was an exceptional night. Usually I do not suffer. Since it was so hot yesterday. It took a while for the bedroom to cool down. Alright, our features are still standing out. It's good. And I'm going to bring the rosy tones in. But I like this skin tone, so. And the other thing is that this skin tone is going to look lighter as soon as we add dark color against it. You have to remember. It's true. I would have lost the mini if I painted it purple. Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Laura. It's defensive mechanisms, right? Yeah. And I'm one of those people who never moves at night. Like, the only time I move is, like, if I wake up in the middle of the night, then I'll reposition. Alright, I kind of like that. Yeah, we're going to halt it there. I'm going to put some more rosy tone on this. I'm going to get more of my magenta out. Yeah, it's pretty correct. For its type, I think. The Khopesh. So I'm popping even more magenta into my my magenta mix to make it really pink. I want it to show up. So it's really, really rose now. And then I'll also mix a highlight for that. So I will pop a little bit of that into another well and throw some white into it. I think that fantasy weapon designs benefit from somebody having an actual understanding of weapons and what works and what doesn't. But I mean, I as much as the next girl, I am somebody who can appreciate the giant sword thing if it's thematic with the design of the miniature. Like, it's something, if there's an art form that's being done very Final Fantasy or anime, then giant weapons don't bother me. Just because it's, you know, it's something you expect in that genre. But if the model is otherwise realistic, then I have a problem with it. They'll blend it. Seriously, it'll minimize it. But it depends on how saturated I take the red in the clothes. So I'm going to do this, and then we're going to see, and then we'll kind of assess where we are, and we can always tune it. That's the thing, right? It's like acrylics. I always tell you guys, you can paint right over it. If I don't get enough pink because the red in the clothes de-emphasizes the pink in the cheeks, then I can just re-emphasize the pink in the cheeks. It's not a big deal. Or I can take the red down a tone, you know. that's nice. Tostoma. If he mixes a lot, it'll be useful. You can make one yourself, but it's always nice. Sometimes it's nice to just have a more professional. I appreciate like diaries and journals, even though I know I could just use a notebook. Just because I like a nice production thing. So we'll pink out her nose a bit. We're going to pink out her lower lip. And I don't want this to look like makeup. I just want it to be subtle in there. Show that her blood is more human than orcish. And I'm going to get the ears. Rosy tones in the cheeks, the ears, the nose. Sometimes around the eyes. But in 28mm usually you're not going to put a lot of rosy tone around the eyes because it's just not going to look, it's not going to show up because it's so small, the model's so small. It's something that you would do on a bigger model like a 75 or a bust. There we go, we've got a little bit more red tones. There we go. That's about what I like, because you've got enough rosy tones that we can put some also. Often find them along the knuckles. Put a little bit of that fleshy color there. Alrighty. I like that. You can see the rosy tones, but they're not overwhelming. That's what I like. I've got my highlight. I want to use my pink highlight to hit the nose a bit, and a little bit of the underside of the ear, a little bit of the lip, probably the knuckles. I need to hit this side of the ear. Went to CrossFit last night, and it was pretty harsh considering how hot it was yesterday. There's no AC at our CrossFit gym either, so it's hardcore, guys. There was an awful lot of goblet squats and push-ups. I don't mind the kettlebell swings; those are easy for me, relatively speaking. I feel like I need a little bit more definition in that ear. Hey, Thormel. Because yes, I survived CrossFit last night in the heat. It's good. We have a new person in our class. We lost our French friend, and we miss her. Now we have a little Asian lady. She seems cool. Younger. Alright, and I'll need to reline that, but that's okay. which is good because we're getting overpopulation of the male on the male side of the class. Like we need to keep it 50-50. I like my class because it's very equal, men and women. All right, so that's good. Let's look at what the clothing looks like. She has a cowl that's wrapped around her neck, so that's a separate piece of cloth. Then she's got her leather armor, like her tunic armor. It seems like she's got 3 layers here. Like there's an extra kind of outer armor layer, there's an interior armor layer, and then there's her pants. I'm gonna... I think I'm gonna say that her top and the interior are the same thing. So red, red. Or I can go the other way around. I can do... But I think I'm gonna have a lot of black on this model. Yeah, but I'll go that way. I might make her pants like a dark blue or purple. And the boots will almost certainly be black, and this will be black. Yeah, I think that's the way we're going to go. So we'll do... Although, do I want to do red here, though? I think I do. That'll make red, black, some other color, black. Yeah, okay. Because I want to alternate. I don't want everything to look... It could nutriment, but I'm more inclined to like... This is why I'm looking at it. I don't really like that idea because this is very form-fitting. I feel like this is more likely to be that. And you could paint it either way. Absolutely. But for me, I think actually what we'll start with is we're going to start with this cowl. Because that might be the one brighter area. I'm also looking at alternating, right? I want to alternate mid and dark, like or color and black. Like if you're doing a rogue, you don't necessarily have that alternating light and mid and dark thing as much. Instead, you're more likely to be alternating like color and black and color and black, so that everything is dark except for maybe the skin tone and the metals. Yeah, I mean the cuff's going to be gold probably, or a dulled down gold, for sure. I mean color is my thing, so I don't really struggle with it. I just really want to figure out where exactly I want my color accents. So I think we're going to do this red and that black. And then we could flip it when we get down here and do black and red. It's totally doable. I mean, we can do whatever we want, really. I just have to figure out where I want my red. And we're going to start our red really, really dark. So probably with a dark brown is what I usually do. Or with a mixture of like, where is it? I could use Urgathoa for this. It's a great color. It's a great color to start reds. It's a really dark kind of red brick. But I think I might mix something instead. I think I might mix dragon red and black and brown instead. These guys as a starting color. Because if I want a dark red, I have gotta start very dark. Oh, no problem, Nutrimenta. If you didn't know, I created the Reaper paint line. I have color theory and color is my thing. And I was their staff painter for ages, and I'm like a Golden Demon winner and stuff like that. So yeah, you had no idea, you had no background, it's okay. Yes, you can still yell out suggestions. I'm just probably going to tell you why I won't do it. Although sometimes I do say, oh, that's a good idea, and I just grab it. So yeah, fair. Yes, you have no idea, exactly. Oh, okay, yeah. My name's Anne. Anne Forrester is what I painted after during the day. I'm an international and national award-winning painter. I worked for Reaper as their staff painter for years. Then I essentially, part of why they hired me was to create a new paint line. So I spent 15 to 17 years creating every color in the Master Series paint line. So I have paint mixing chops and a bit of paint chemistry in my background. And I went to art school. And yeah, all that. Yeah, I mean, it really is fine to shout out suggestions, even though I'm like, technically expert in my field. Like, it really doesn't matter. If you do suggest something, I'll either tell you why I wouldn't do it, or I'll just say, well, I'm kind of thinking this, or I'll just say, no, I'm not in the mood for that right now. So it's all, definitely still make suggestions. It's all cool here. Like, I still get good suggestions from the stream, even though, I've been painting for ages. At this point, I started competitively painting in like 2001, 2002. Probably, or maybe around 2000. I was painting for eBay and selling stuff, and then I started entering competitions. So, I've been doing it for a while, but it doesn't mean I can't learn anything new. So. Oh yeah. No, you can suggest. Suggest is okay. Yeah. No, I mean, come on. We like new people. Elbow in all you like. I didn't realize you were brand new. Usually I can spot the brand new names. But my memory failed me on that one. Alright, so we're going to mix... So black and brown is a very, very dark brown. It's a mixture of black pigment that's high density, so it has very good coverage. And it starts out with a lot of black in it, but it also has red oxide, which makes it actually pretty good for working up reds. So as I add this dragon red, hopefully I will get myself a very, very dark red with good coverage to start mapping in the red. Okay, cool. Yeah, chill out. This is actually a pretty chill stream. Yeah, we talk a lot. We talk a lot about health, because I'm losing weight and building muscle, and so I like to share my journey with my peeps. And we talk about dogs because I'm into them, and other pets because there are many, many cat lovers, cat whisperers in the channel. And guys, I think I mentioned to you that dog aging project. I think I'm going to enroll Kiki. I watched a podcast the other night with the guy who runs that in it. And he's doing some really interesting work with dogs and aging and testing things like rapamycin, which is a potential anti-aging drug. But you can just enroll your dog if you're willing to jump through the hoops. And I'm like, I think I might be willing to jump through the hoops. Oh, moving overseas. Oh, down 22 pounds since January 1st. Good for you, Nutrimentia. Good for you. Super. Yee! We totally celebrate that. It's like so important. People like... I was mucking about, but then I finally got serious. I started CrossFit last year so that I could build muscle. So, okay, so here, let's talk about diffusion really quick. So when I added that red to the brown, it really didn't change a lot at all. The brown still predominates. And we could tell that if we spread it out a little bit on the palette, we need a lot of water so we can see through it. So we've gotten a little bit of a red tone. You can see it. It's a reddish brown. But it's not quite as red as I would like for a starting color. So I think I'm going to add. And the reason for that is diffusion and just like essentially pigment load in this case, because there's so much black pigment in that black and brown. And I know what its pigment load is since I, designed the color. So essentially that's just overwhelming the dragon red, which although it has a lot of red pigment in it, black is going to diffuse pretty fast through red. He looks Yorkie. Poodle size. Nice. I have shepherds. Shiloh shepherds. Number one, only one Shiloh shepherd right now. So I'm going to put 2 more drops of dragon in here. See if I can get what I want. I want something that still looks a little more red. Yeah, okay, I think that might work. But yeah. So for a while I was gaining muscle, so I was essentially staying the same weight but losing inches. And I just, if I could just lose, even 20 pounds, that would help. That would make CrossFit so much easier. It would make everything so much easier because I really want to learn to do a pull up. Um, that's one of my goals in CrossFit. But when I've got this extra weight, it's really hard to learn to do a proper pull up because you have too much weight to haul up, essentially. You have to build a lot of muscle to get there. So I finally really started going and looking at my diet, and I cut out all the junk food. So now I'm losing weight. It's great. It's actually pretty effortless, other than tracking what I eat, which is something I do anyway and have done for years. When I don't do it is when I gain weight. Yeah, I feel it. Well, I'm 51, so yeah, exactly. I just I've always wanted to live till I was 100. And so I decided to get serious on that and really start working on it now. But you know what? You can start at any age. We have a 74-year-old in my CrossFit gym. He does he does Tuesday, Thursday, but he also does Saturday. I think he does mornings. But like he goes at it. He's like he knows he scales it because of his age and, ability level, but he says it helps him keep doing the stuff he wants to do, so. And I think he lost quite a bit of weight along the way as well. Okay, you'll be 50 in September. Yeah, this is a great time to work on your health, I think. Yeah, eat good food and not too much and exercise. Yup! You and I see exactly the same. Nutrimentia. We are in the same boat. Go team, eat a little less, exercise a little bit more, eat good food. I really just came to the conclusion that when I allowed myself to eat sugar and sugary treats, it just encouraged me to eat more of them. So, and that's a real thing. That's a thing that our body does to us because the way sugar affects your hunger hormones. So I got sick of it and I said, screw it. I'm just going to cut it out. So I let myself have a little bit of carbs, after workouts and stuff. I'll have cottage cheese and fresh pineapple mixed in, so I get glucose to replenish glucose stores. But other than that, carbing up before events has actually been scientifically shown not to help women very much at all. There we go. All right, so I'm just blocking in this color, which is a really, really dark reddish brown. Yeah, I'm all about it. I've only lost 4 pounds, but I've only been doing the diet 2 weeks. I've only been adjusting to the no junk food for 2 weeks, so it's actually perfect. 2 pounds a week is perfect. And the cravings hit me a bit this week. As my body realized, wait, what do you mean you're not eating any, bread, or you're not letting David get you a croissant, and I don't get any chocolate anymore. What do you mean? So the body definitely kind of gave me a little bit of a time this week, shall we say. But it'll get used to it. I did keto for 2.5 years. I can do anything. Thanks, Trash. Yeah, we're starting to block in other colors. I'm going to be doing a really dark red as the main color because I want her to be very roguey. And I let the chat choose between dark red, dark blue, and dark purple, and they wanted dark red. I'll probably do her hair then as a blue-black. I kind of want to give her colored hair, but really dark. I don't know. I tried to have a treat day. Yeah, it really depends. Right. It depends on, I think, your metabolism, how much weight you have to lose, like how much extra weight you're carrying. What you eat on that treat day, I think matters. Like for me, it doesn't make sense because if I allow myself to have sugar 1 day a week, I'm still staying addicted to sugar and I'm still going to want it. And I know that my willpower is not, sufficient to power me past the donut case at the Safeway unless I'm giving myself every advantage. So, trying to figure out. Trying to paint this in here. So for me, that's why when I just gave up, I was just like, yeah, we're done. We're cutting the crap. I mean, that's what people like, they're always like, if you want to lose weight, cut out the junk food. And I'm like, all right, I'll take you at your word and see how it works. I did mostly that when I did the keto diet and lost all that weight, but the problem with the keto is I still let myself have like artificial sweeteners and stuff. Whereas right now, if I want something sweet, I'm only allowed fruit. And I'm not allowed to like binge on fruit. Hey, Miniatures Den. How's it going? But yeah, you should do what works for you, Jabberwock, for sure. Yeah, 1 treat day a week turns into 3 or 5. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I'm just in that point where I'm good, I'm losing weight. Yay! I cut the junk food out of my diet, Miniatures Den. And my brain is rebelling. My brain is telling me all this week, it's like, you need sugar. I'm like, no, I don't. So it's kind of in the rough spot right now. And unfortunately, we're traveling. So we're about to go up to Ashland for the Shakespeare Festival. And I'm going to try my best to stick as much to my diet as I can. But I'm not going to guilt myself if I can't. Like, if I really just run out of oomph and I eat something bad, I'm going to try to follow Peter Attia's rule, which is never do, if you do a bad thing, never do 2 bad things in a row. So if I have a bad treat, then for the next meal, I'm going to try really hard to stick to diet. But yeah, I've lost 4 pounds in 2 weeks, Miniatures Den, so that's where I want to be. I'm sure it will slow down very soon, but even if I was losing a pound a week, I'd be happy. That's much better progress than I've had for a while. All right, so if we do red there, let's just see how we're going to bring up this red. Starting out really, really dark. So I should bring it up first with dragon, because that's one of my component reds anyway. We were talking about, yeah, Nutrimentia has come over to... Yeah, 1 treat turns into 1 box of treats. I agree, Hugh. It's the sad truth for me. With keto, I was able to, I baked my own keto cookies using erythritol and stuff. But now, I mean, I'm just looking at a lot of, the artificial sweetener things, and that can still make you crave sugar and things. So I'm just done with it. Plus, erythritol isn't good on my gut anymore since I got my IBS diagnosis. So, you adapt. You adapt. And honestly, this is probably better for me anyway. I really love, I make maple glazed roasted carrots, and those are great little sweet treats. And they're healthy because they're carrots. The whole bunch of carrots cut up has only 1 tablespoon of maple syrup for the whole thing, but it's still sweet enough. Oh, are you squeaking, Kiki? Yeah, we always talk about Luca. What I love about having Luca on Reaper's channel is that he paints so differently from me. And that is great because it gives you guys, it really brings home the fact that you can be a good painter in many different ways. So with me, I like to start, I'm a glutton for punishment. I like to start really dark red and then bring it up very slowly if I want it to stay kind of a red-black. No, we're honest. I can't do honey because honey is our FODMAPs. So if you have IBS hue, you kind of usually have to cut out the oligosaccharides of various sorts. So I can't do honey, but I can do maple, because maple doesn't have that in it. So that's my new thing. So yeah, I have dietary limitations on top of doing a healthy diet. But like I said, I mean, I did ketogenic and I lived on it for 2.5 years and I did fine. So after that diet, I feel like if you can do keto for any length of time, you can do any diet, because keto is like so restrictive. Nothing but good things, right? Potatoes with food coloring, but John shot you down. We do love the alpaca. Oh, come on. It's funny though, Luca, you talk a lot about mental health and I talk a lot about physical health. Although I do talk about motivation and perfectionism and stuff like that as well, but more often these days I'm on a real health kick, so that's what I tend to chat about. But yeah, I really want to enroll Kiki in this dog aging project. I was thinking maybe she wasn't a good one to do because she's so young, but apparently that's part of what they need as well, because they want to run experiments with old dogs and young dogs, and they follow the dogs throughout their lives and stuff. So I need to look more into what they require. One page away from just losing it. Lovecraftian main character at the end of the book. Yes. The brink of precipice. You need more sleep. And walks in nature. Sleep and walks. Do you meditate, Luca? Or do you not? Do you think it's hooey? Have you tried it? Oh, you do? Good. Awesome. I always I'm always like, I'm going to start a meditation practice. And then I try. Oh, Kiki, you want to come up? And then I try, and then I do a few days, and then I totally, get derailed. But not at this point of your life, right? Kiki, come here! Luca! Luca needs you! Kiki to the rescue! Yay, Papa! Good girl! Good girl! I'm getting Kiki hugs! Yay! Kiki hugs! Kiki lickins! Good girl! There we go. There you go, miniature stand. That's a brief, the brief canine therapy. Right, good girl. Thanks, Nutra. She's my shepherd. She's a Shiloh shepherd, except she's an outcross, which means we're mixing other breeds into our breed, trying to get better genetic health, which is another reason I want to maybe enroll her in this dog aging project thing. Yeah, so she's got Poodle and Dutch Wetterhound in her. Good girl. Good girl, Keeks. She's my girl. She's actually David's girl. She's definitely his dog more than my dog, but still. Ah, cute. Cute, Quindy. Yeah. I mean, in Europe, it's much more accepted nowadays to try to, kind of outcross other breeds to try to keep the pure breeds healthy. In America still, it's very, taboo, and I think that's very backward, but that's just the way it is. Our breed, though, here in the U.S. is very forward-thinking on this. So, yeah. And I believed in the program very much, so when I got time to get a new dog, I decided to get one of the outcross pups. She looks a lot like a Shiloh Shepherd. She just has a bit of the curly coat from the Wetterhound. And she's a little shorter than our breed typically is. So she's actually small for her breed. Even though she looks like a monster when she's on camera. Yeah, I mean, you don't avoid everything because cancer is, everywhere, right? You can have a mixed breed dog and still have it get cancer. I think cancer might be more linked to lifestyle at this point. There are definitely genetic cancers, but as far as, ones that hit you in the old age. But yeah, in general, if you're mixing two breeds that don't have a lot of disorders in common, you really have a chance to get away from some of the common disorders. So when we choose outcrosses, we try to choose breeds that don't have like our top 3 or top 4 most seen disorders. So we used the Poodle Wetterhound is actually a product of the Wetterhound outcrossing program. We have friends, a lot of our Shiloh people are in the Netherlands, so they had access to that. Oh, bye, Shadow Raven. Have fun. The big poodle's a standard poodle? Yeah, that's what she's got behind her. You made him quit smoking. All right. If your dog is smoking, something's wrong. I mean, European, but still. Italian, yeah. Oh, man. You guys. So funny. So I'm just building up this red. Let me see if I can get closer. So you can see how that's starting to come up. It keeps it very, very dark having that near black undercoat. But we can still bring up the highlights on it. You can see it. So as I bring it up higher, we're going to go a little bit more saturated, right? But yeah, I like the standard poodles. I mean, that's Kiki. Kiki's got, genetically, her genome is more Wetterhound than poodle. Just the way that it fell out. But it's just why she's got kind of, I think, the Wetterhound build and the Wetterhound head. Alrighty, so I kind of like that. Let's bring it up a little bit more. It's going, since it's a muted, the other reason this works is that my green is a really muted color, right? It's a really kind of grayed out color, browned out. Olives are like that. So by starting my red really, really dark, even if I bring it up to something like really bright, like clear red, that'll just be in small little sections. And so it'll still work because the majority of the red is going to read as muted. And the fact that I'm putting my highlights over this dark red is also going to mute the color if I'm using translucent layers, which I am because I always thin my paint. So now we could go up to something like, I probably want to start mixing in something like either clear red or brilliant red, maybe heraldic. Heraldic actually might be our next step. And then clear. Clear is like pure red. And we're pretty much just doing this one section just so I can test out my color and decide how I'm going to do it. Probably need to get a little bit more heraldic red. It's a good mid-red. It's not, it's intense, but it's not as intense as it's showing up on camera. My gamma's just, for some reason, my gamma's just a little bit off toward the red. It favors the red. Everything else looks right. But red looks a lot brighter on my camera. I'm going to thin this down. Reds don't need to be thinned as much since they're naturally translucent, most of them, unless you're dealing with a cadmium or a purole red. Then you may need to thin a little bit more. I'm going to thin this about 2-to-1 paint to water. So again, we're not going to be on tomorrow or the next day. I will be going up to watch some Shakespeare in Oregon. Taking our little road trip tomorrow. I'm excited. I love road trips. And this is a nice short one. It's like going to be between 6 and 8 hours getting up there. Actually, I should check that right now just to see. I should have checked it earlier because we're planning to leave around 9. So right now it's short. It's like it would probably take us. It's a 6-hour 42-minute trip, but without stops. So probably 7.5 with stops if we're good. Probably more like 8 hours. We're gonna leave at around 9 and plan to get there at around 5, which would be perfect because then we can meet up with his parents for dinner. Shakespeare lives in Oregon, yes. A DJ Chronico, yeah. Yeah, I consider 6 to 8 hours short for a road trip, but then I am the crazy person who drove to Reapercon with her dog last year, so, and that was a 4-day road trip. pretty insane. It drove both of us, both Kiki and I, pretty insane. So as I'm working in this this brighter red, again, it's going to struggle to come up over the dark color, but that's okay. Now, if you do this and you get impatient and you're like, I want this color to come up faster, the thing to do is probably to underpaint with white over the areas that you want to be brighter, and then put the red over the top. That will brighten it up. But I actually want this to stay a very dark red, and that's why I'm doing it kind of the long way. Because this way, although it takes me more layers, it's going to keep it darker. So that's just going to slowly come up, bit by bit. But yeah, the rest of today is getting ready for that. So I have to do a little bit of house cleaning since the dog sitter's going to be staying here. I don't want him to walk into a sty. Yeah, it should be fun. We get to one of our places. I looked up our plays, or David looked up our plays the other day, and we get to see Macbeth. And I've never seen Macbeth live, so I'm super happy and excited. Because this is one of my favorite plays. And then we're also, one of my other favorite plays, we're also seeing Much Ado About Nothing. And then they also do just period plays. So we're also going to see Jane Eyre. And those are our 3. We have one Thursday night, one Friday night, and one Saturday night. And 2 of them are in the outdoor theater and 1 of them is indoor. So I'm taking cold weather clothes just because it gets cold at night. I know I'm supposed to call it the Scottish play. I know. I understand. But I decided to say it anyway. Because some people don't know that. I don't know why they don't know that, Kreniko. I know I'm cursing it by saying its name. I'm bringing bad luck, but... yeah, it should be a good trip. We've driven up to Ashland before because we stay there on our way to visit his folks in Seattle, so. We've got some nice restaurants. So as we bring it up that red, we can see the red more. But it's still staying pretty desaturated. I may kind of halt it at this point and come back to it. Again, I'm likely to want to tune these things as I get a better sense of how everything's going to look together. The downside of painting in parts like I do is that you can't really see how everything's going to turn out as far as relative light and darkness and how the colors are interacting until you've got everything in place. So I like this red. It's nice and dark. I could desaturate it a bit bringing it up, and I might do that by adding, I could do all sorts of things to do it. I could add a little bit of the brown to this heraldic red, and that would make it a little more dull. I could add a touch of white to it as well. I may do that to make it fade out a little bit. You can fit 9 Scotlands into Texas, yes. There we go. I skipped one big state for another. California, if you drive from the top to the bottom, is also very long. All right, so we've got a miniatures den on deck, so I'm going to call it here, everybody. We will be back. This show will be back on Monday when I will be back from my road trip. And on that day, we will be finishing up. We're actually, like, almost done. I don't know about Halfling. I might need to grab another model. I think I might need to grab another model, because we were on Halfling. Unless I want to base him. Maybe we do. We need to do some basing, because we're really falling behind on basing. I think I was going to tackle the sword a little bit, though, and the helmet a little bit. Some of the metal. So maybe we'll work on the metals on the Halfling on Monday. Yep. Thanks, Luca. Have a good stream. I hope you find some time to rest and recover your energy so that you don't go absolutely freaking Lovecraftian crazy. If he grows tentacles on stream, guys, that's bad. Okay? Just report on him. We need to send an intervention if that happens. Alrighty. Yep. Thank you, Quindy, for herding the cats as always. And the rest of you, have a great weekend. I'm going to enjoy mine. Alright? Bye-bye.